In the meantime, continuing to talk about your money, you may be paying for your home more for your home than perhaps you should be. New research from Bankrate suggests that millions of Americans out there may be making one costly mistake when it comes to what happens after they put an offer on their home. So let's talk about that mistake and how you can avoid it with Bankrate analyst Alex Gailey. Alex, good morning. Nice to have you with us on this Monday.
Good morning, Dan. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right, so your research found that nearly 9 out of 10 borrowers have overpaid on their mortgage. How is this happening?
So, this is happening because a lot of borrowers are simply not aware that they should be comparison shopping on their mortgage. And they assume that with every lender, they'll get the same rate, and that's just not the case. There's also this other thing happening where you tend to go to your realtor or your family member or a friend for your recommendation, and that can just limit you from doing a broader market search. So, what's happening right now is that lenders are not competing as much as they should be for borrowers' business, and that is resulting in American home buyers and owners overpaying for their mortgage. For the typical borrower, it's over $3,300 a year on average. And that's money that could be going towards other important financial goals.
And I mean, when you add that up over the lifetime of a 30-year loan, we're talking about potentially tens of thousands of dollars in extra interest, right?
Yeah, we're talking about over $78,000 over the life of a 30-year loan on average. And again, this could go towards padding your retirement, funding your kids' tuition, wiping out your credit card debt. And by not comparison shopping for your mortgage, this is one of the few levers that buyers have left to lower the cost of home ownership at a time where home prices are high. That's no secret. And we know that mortgage rates are elevated. So
Hmm.
this is something that borrowers can control and fix right now, outside of all the other affordability issues.
Alex, are you seeing mortgage rates still around like 6.5% right now? I mean, what's the average, and how much fluctuation could you see if you go out and say get like three different quotes?
So mortgage rates are hovering in that 6.5%. They have been for a while now. We did see a dip under 6% for the 30-year fixed rate in February, and we saw a surge in refinancing. But they're really stuck where they're at because of the ongoing geopolitical uncertainty and because of inflation and the uncertainty around that. In terms of where interest rates may go, there's expectations that the Fed will either hold interest rates where they're at, and we're likely not going to see a lot of fluctuation there. But in terms of how much you can save by comparison shopping, I mean, we're talking about potentially $3,300 on average on the line. If you're able to do that comparison of at least three lenders is ideal and on the same day. And again,
Hmm.
this is something that tilts the market power and leverage lenders have back in buyers' favor. And it just comes down to awareness. A lot of people don't know they should be shopping for a mortgage.
That's a great point to get the quote on the same day too, because the next day the 10-year Treasury could be doing something completely different. It can kind of throw your numbers off, right?
Absolutely. You do want to try to get as accurate apples to apples comparison on your mortgage. And ideally, that is the same day. However, it doesn't hurt to get a head start and try to get a sense of those numbers, where your interest rate might be, even a few weeks leading into the home buying process if you're in the market.
Um, Also found it interesting in your research how higher income buyers and people with strong credit actually more likely to overpay. What did you find there, and who are the savviest shoppers right now?
That was a surprising finding in our research. And I do want to clarify that the hidden homeownership tax, what we're calling the mortgage overpayments, that is happening across the country with every different type of borrower, nearly across age, income. However, with a higher income borrower, they're actually more likely to overpay at a 90% rate. And that comes down to the fact that they're more likely to just take that first recommendation from their realtor or their wealth advisor. They have those established banking relationships that they may not want to steer away from. And then also, we find that they also are less likely to feel uncertain about their mortgage approval odds. So that just means that they're likely to shop less aggressively than maybe borrowers who are more worried about those mortgage approvals.
What about the younger generation, say 35 and under? How are they when it comes to shopping for rates?
So the younger generations are still overpaying for their mortgages. However, they are in terms of technology, more digitally savvy. They're more likely to do that aggressive comparison shopping, and they're less likely to just go with the first option. And so we do see that their overpayment rates are lower for those younger buyers compared to older buyers who are more likely to stay loyal to that bank that they've been with for 15, 20 years.
Hey, Alex, same rules apply if you're going to be refinancing. Should you still try to get three quotes on the same day?
Yes, you should with refinancing. It's interesting in our research, we do find that refinancers still overpay for their mortgage at a high percentage, about 80%. And so that tells us that they're not aggressively shopping as much as they should be. And they do have time to shop around for that refinance mortgage. So we do find that they should be still taking advantage of the comparison shopping. And again, that's the best way you can have leverage in this market is by forcing lenders to compete with one another for your business.
And they will compete. I mean, just based off my own experience, you call one and say, "Hey, across the street, I just got 6.2. What can you do?" And a lot of times they will get very close to it. And then you take that offer back, and you kind of got to play the game, I guess. Alex, any final advice you have for folks?
I would just let folks know that if you have a mortgage and you're looking to refinance, you're likely overpaying for that right now. And that is costing you thousands of dollars on average per year. So, my best advice is get out of that single quote loop and make sure that you are talking to different lenders on the same day and you're making them compete for your business. And yeah, you're moving that leverage back in your favor as a homeowner and a home
Hey,
buyer.
great advice, things we can all use. Alex Gailey from Bankrate. Appreciate it.